Tell me about yourself.
Well, I have a wife and 4 wonderful kids. I was born in North Carolina, kind of grew up in Clinton, Maryland, currently living in Florida. Also spend a lot of time in Des Moines, Iowa. I was in the Navy. I'm a programmer by trade. I do a lot of like .NET programming and things like that, websites and such. I love the Lord. He's awesome in my life. And I've written a book called The Prophecy of the Seventh Elizabeth.
What inspired you to write this book?
Well, there's probably a lot of things that brought me to the point where I would write a book. But I have to admit that I've never really wanted to be an author. Prior to writing this book, I never even thought about taking on the task of writing a book. But God just put this movie in my head, and there was just a drive there, a passion to get it out, to put it on paper. I remember sitting on airplanes, writing on my phone, just typing in everything that I could envision right then. And pieces would just come to me all the time, and I just have to sit down and write them out. And over a period of time, I was able to take all that, piece it all together. And now we're looking at a 3-book series, and it's just a wonderful, it's a blessing, to have God just drop something right into your brain.
Do you have any favorite authors?
I really don't have a favorite author per se. There are several series that I like, or several authors that I like. But I think my favorite series that I've ever read is probably Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Douglas Adams, just a great and very funny story.
What do you hope people will take away from reading your book?
Well, I hope, and I mentioned this before, I really hope that this is just a soul-changing experience for the reader. I know there are several Christian books out there. There are several sci-fi books out there. There are several sci-fi Christian books out there. And I just hope that just from reading this, we kind of get to look at the characters and how they deal with just some horrific situations, but how they never they never let go of their faith. They always have that faith there. They always believe that God's going to pull them through. They always speak positive about it. They always speak positive into the situation. I just want people to take that away from the book, and ultimately, just really enjoy the series as a whole.
What is your favorite scene from the book?
That's pretty interesting. It's the phrasing of the question. What's the favorite scene from the book? Because I really think of the book more as a movie than I do as a book, and I've always had it that way. It's basically a movie in my mind that I'm translating into words. But I think I have a lot of favorite parts of the book. But there's a portion of the book where Elizabeth is talking to her mentor, and they're discussing the Vatican and how the temple was created that she lives in, and it turns out that it's really built by science is the thing that holds it together. And so she looks at her mentor and she says, so you're telling me that science built this place? And he looks at her and says, there's some other dialogue in there, but ultimately he says, you don't think that God put scientists on Earth just to stand around and denounce him, do you? And I just think that's such a really cool thing to say. Really, because a lot of times we don't think of there's that big war of, it's science is this and Christianity is this and such, but there's that place where they fit together, and so I think that scene is really revealing, and I think that scene's really nice, and it's probably one of my favorite ones in there.
So tell me, are any of the characters based on people you know?
Well, it is true that I have a beautiful wife and 4 wonderful children, just like the character Jonathan in the book. But my children are not trained in martial arts, and they do not fly around the world, and they do not go around solving crimes. They don't beat up people. So there's probably a lot of differences between my family and Jonathan Sett's family. But there are, I did draw from, experiences that I have in life. And I think we always do that. And I can't say that any of my characters are based on anyone that I know, but certainly the pieces that are there, the feelings are there, and the nuances are there. So
tell me about some of your characters.
Well, first there's Jonathan Sett. He's an FBI agent. He's martial arts trained. He's everything you want to see a very good FBI type character. He's handsome. He has all those qualities. He's debonair. He's everything. But he's a godly man. He has a strong faith, and he's the type of person who doesn't even want to in a shootout kill someone unless he makes sure they're saved first. So he's an awesome man. There's his children. You have Rebecca, Matthew, and Jacob. Rebecca, she's kind of out there. She's always out in front, and not afraid to speak her mind. The twins, Matthew and Jacob, they're just they're funny. They're funny to each other. They both think they're funny. They interact with each other very well. They're very smart. All the children are very smart. They're homeschooled. They have a nanny. Her name's Nana, and she basically is in charge of their everyday care and all these types of things. But they get into a lot of mischief. They solve crimes. They do a lot of really neat things in the story. We kind of follow along with their growth and how the entire situation has affected them as well. And then there are certainly bad guys. The syndicate's an organization that steals children. They sell children into slavery. They sell children into worse things than slavery. And that's really John's focus is really trying to. He's always been trying to break that gang and bring them down. Then you have the teacher who works for the syndicate, but also he's reports directly to the destroyer. So, and we kind of develop that throughout the story as well. And then he has an apprentice named Jackson, who is developing to be a very ruthless character as well. The syndicate they breed evil, and along with the teacher and the destroyer, it's just a very bad thing. And so Jonathan and his family have a lot cut out for them, and we kind of journey with them throughout the book. There are other side characters as well that help glue everything together. Some very funny characters, some very friendly characters, some reliable characters, good friends. The set of characters, I'm really happy about them. Every character in the book is important. Everybody has a role, even the little side characters. You really have to kind of pay attention to what's going on with even the side characters. Because you'll always see them come back somewhere. So just as you're going through, keep your eye on those.
So the Prophecy of the Seventh Elizabeth is a series of books.
Well, there are 3 books in the series, The Prophecy of the Seventh Elizabeth. Book 1 is subtitled The Battle Between Light and Dark, Book 1. And the second one is The Battle Between Light and Dark, Book 2, of course. And then the third one is subtitled Enoch. The first book is really the first 7 years of Elizabeth Sett's life, and we journey with her and her father through that. The second book kind of jumps around a little bit, but essentially it's the second 7 years of her life. We take her all the way up to the actual battle for Light and Dark. And then the last book, Enoch, is really the 15th year of Elizabeth Sett's life, and it's just an extraordinary book. I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but definitely look forward to Enoch.
I read on the e7prophecy.com blog that you've traveled to some of the places mentioned in the book.
Yeah, I have. Many of the places that I like to write about. It's always funner to write about something when you know a little bit more about it. And so even though I don't really take time to explain in detail, the cityscape and how certain things look within a city that the Sett family visits, I just feel more comfortable that I've been there and I know certain things about that city. And if I write about it, I know that it's true. I've been to places like Palma, Spain. It's one of the places that we have in the book. And of course, Rome and the Vatican City. Chester or Cheshire, England is a nice place. That's where the crazy cryptologist is from. And then, like the Badlands National Park, which is just an awesome and very, very beautiful place. If you haven't been there, you should go. But like I said, I really like to just talk about places or write about places that I've actually been to.
I know that you are a Christian. What church do you attend?
I attend the Church of Jacksonville. We just call it CJAX, cjax.com. Our pastors, Mike and Connie Smith, are just awesome pastors. They really love their congregation. It's kind of the type of place where you go and everyone smiles, and I've been to several churches, but this is just my favorite place, and not just because people smile, but because I learned so much at this church, and I don't know if I've ever learned that much in such short period of time ever. Like I said, the pastors are just wonderful. Prior to that, I attended Bethel Baptist Institutional Church, and one of my dearest, a person very dear to my heart, the two pastors there, Pastor Rudolph McKissick Sr. and Rudolph McKissick Jr. are just two awesome men of God. And in my background, in my family, there's several bishops and different churches and such. So I won't say that I necessarily grew up going to church every week, every Sunday. But in my later life, my family is very into church. We love God. We love going to church. We love learning. The more I can learn about God is just awesome. So, but CJAX, CJAX.com, check it out. It's awesome stuff.
I also noticed on the e7prophecy.com site that you have movie trailers. Who created the music?
It's a loaded question. I created the music for those. I did the trailers for the book. There are more trailers coming out. I have some really cool ideas for how to introduce the books to the series, the complete series to the public, and I like to have fun with it. I like to do music. I had a recording studio in the past, and I do have. I guess I have some musical talents. Hopefully, everyone else will think so. Check them out. Check out the trailers on the site, e7prophecy.com. Hashtag E7Prophecy. All those things will get you to us. Facebook.com. The Facebook address is kind of long. It's facebook.com/the prophecy of the 7th Elizabeth. But definitely stop by, like our page. We're trying to do a really good thing here. I hope you love the series as much as I like it. I hope that the vision that was in my head, the movie that I see in my head, really comes through in the book, and maybe one day we'll actually see it on the big screen. But for right now, check out the book, and I hope you enjoy it. God bless.